know Adelaide as a city. So I'm not going to touch on Adelaide as a city, but I will go on straight into UniSA itself, and obviously later on talk about the merge that you most likely would have already heard about. So in terms of UniSA, we have got in total population student-wise, we have got about 36,000 students, out of which about 5,007 are international students. So as you can see, our ratio between international and domestic is, you're sitting quite nicely and under 20%. So if you're talking about like, international caps or whatever it is, like how some other universities might be really sensitive about, we are actually in a very good position. So not to worry about the caps and stuff like that. Okay. Now, in total, as you can see there, we do have 6 campuses, but 4 of them are actually in the metro area of Adelaide itself. So I will be touching on that 4. And the other 2 are actually really quite far out, about 4 or 5 hours away. In most cases, international students don't go there anyway. So I won't talk about those campuses. I'll just talk about the 4 that are in the city area. So I'm not sure if some of you have probably heard me talking to Russ about it earlier, about the, number 1 in South Australia for graduate employability. So basically are saying that UniSA graduates, employers are basically saying that UniSA graduates are demonstrating how they have got that practical skills when they go out to work. And so really we prepare them to be career ready. The moment they graduate, they are able to hit the ground running. So a lot of them are talking about, in the survey itself, when they did this, employability skills are defined as the ability to perform and innovate in the workplace. So our focus on innovation enterprise is helping our students to become future leaders, change makers, as well as, ready to ask big questions in the world itself. So in terms of the university itself, I'm sure you all know that there are 3 Australian public universities in South Australia. And UniSA is actually the largest university in Adelaide at the moment. So these are the 4 campuses that you can see. We've got Mawson Lakes, we've got McGill, City West, and also City East. So in terms of where the location is, this is just a map of Adelaide as a city. So if you look at my cursor, this is the City West campus, and this is the City East campus. So between the City East and City West campus, actually that's all on the same street. It's on North Terrace itself. One is on the west, which is why we call it City West. One is on the east, which we call the City East campus. Now, those 2 are really quite convenient to travel between the 2 campuses. Either you can walk, or if you like, you can catch the tram. So if you catch the tram, it's just 3 tram stops between each other. And as you can see here, we have got free tram in the city center itself of Adelaide. So the trams that are in the city, doesn't matter where you come out and drop off, it doesn't matter. As long as it's within the city, it's free of charge. So students do not need to pay anything for the trams within the city area. Okay, then we have McGill campus, which is on the east side, about 22 minutes away from the city, about 8.2 kilometers. And then we also have Mawson Lakes, which is actually further up north. If you catch the express train, it's roughly about 17 minutes from the city, or about, in terms of distance-wise, about 16.5 kilometers away from the CBD area. Okay, then in terms of Mawson Lakes, which is the one that I say that is sort of up north of Adelaide, this is actually where we teach our STEM programs. So from aviation to secondary education, data science, engineering, IT, they are all located here in the Mawson Lakes campus. And then we have McGill. McGill is more the humanities or social sciences kind of program. So as you can see there, anything related to arts or communication, journalism, early childhood education, film, television, illustration, animation, psychology, social work, they're all in this campus. And this is probably the most campus-like campus that we have within UniSA. And if you're on a good day, if you are lucky enough, you can even catch a koala on one of the up in the trees. Yeah, so there we have had koalas on in a campus actually. Then we have the City East campus. So City East, majority of the programs are actually health related. So if you look up here, other than the construction management, which is the odd one out, all the others are all health related. Human movement, medicals, radiation. So medical radiation science, including nuclear medicine, as well as medical imaging, nursing, midwifery, nutrition, food sciences, OT, physio, and podiatry. They're all in the City East campus. And also we have City West. So City West is our newest campus. So a variety of different courses here as well. So anything that is related to business is here. Then we have got architecture, design, even design as like even contemporary art, jewelry making, design, painting. They're all in this campus as well. And we also have law, pharmacy, located in this particular campus. So I would probably say this is our flagship campus because a lot of facilities are relatively newer and buildings are newer as well. So, okay, now I understand that there might be some Filipino agents in this session. So this particular slide is for Filipino agents. If there is, I'm just going to quickly touch base on this. So for K to 12 students from Philippines, just wanting to let you know that we are the only university in Adelaide that accepts K to 12, or rather grade 12 students directly into our bachelor's degree. So this is direct, meaning to say they do not have to sit for SAT, they don't have to go through a diploma pathway, or they do not need to sit for foundation. Pretty much, if they have got 85% and above in their grade to 12, or rather in their grade 12 results, they are eligible to apply directly for the bachelor's degree in any program. Okay, it doesn't matter whether it's those that requires higher cutoff score, like for example, physio or medical imaging, doesn't matter. Or if it is a slightly lower requirement, business or nursing, doesn't matter. As long as they have 85%, they can apply to any programs in the first year. Of course, it's subject to availability of places because there are some programs that has got a quota. Okay, and they also need to meet English requirement as well. But other than that, they can apply directly into the bachelor's first year program. Okay, and this slide is also specifically for Philippines. We do offer the International Merit Scholarship. It is a 15% scholarship that is for the entire duration of the program, up to 4 years. If they are doing, say, for example, a Bachelor of Engineering, that is 4 years. So it's for the entire degree. So it's not just only for first year, but it's for 4 years if they are doing a program that is 4-year duration. And then for grade 12 students, Philippines grade 12 students, as long as they get 88%, they will definitely get that 15%. So remember how I mentioned earlier, 85 to get entry, but 88 to get the 15% international merit scholarship. Okay. And then we also have the VC International Excellence Scholarship. It's 50% of the entire program. Again, the same thing, up depending on what program they study. If it is a 4-year program, it's up to 4 years. If it is, say, a master's 2-year program, then it's for 2 years. In terms of the this scholarship, the VC scholarship, it is a little bit harder to get in because we are looking for the cream of the crowd. So it needs to be an equivalent of high distinction. And there is also a personal statement required as well. Whereas the other one, there's no separate application form. It's automatically assessed. But this one here with the VC scholarship, there is a separate statement or application form that is required. And no credit exemptions allowed. So pretty much they have to be studying the full duration of the program. They can't be getting any exemptions. Okay, and whatever that is listed here are just the criteria that is to be considered. So just because they have met that requirement doesn't mean that they are guaranteed of the scholarship. It just means that they are eligible to be considered. Okay, That's for Philippines. Now, for the Malaysian agents, similarly, we still have the same scholarship, that 15%, same thing, 15% for the entire duration of program, automatically assessed, but these are just the different GPA depending on what programs the students are studying. Okay, so ATAR score, if they are doing a year 12, all they need is just ATAR of 70, and you'll be eligible for the 15%. Okay, and same thing with the VC International Excellence Scholarship. Same thing, 50% for the entire duration, personal statement required, no exemptions allowed. And in terms of the score, we are looking at an equivalent of 95 ATA or above. Or if if the students are doing A levels, you're looking at 3/8 minimum. IB would be at least 40 and so forth. Okay, and if it's a GPA out of 4, then we are looking at 3.8. So it is quite hard to get in. And as I said, just because they have met this requirement doesn't mean that they are guaranteed of the scholarship either. So there is a personal statement that is required as well. Okay, so next we have our study area. So in other universities, you probably be familiar that they will always call either, faculties or colleges. But at the current moment at UniSA, we have 7 academic units. We don't call them faculty. We call them academic units, and there's 7 out of them. So if you notice here, we have one that is allied health and human performance. We have business, clinical and health sciences, creative, education futures, justice society, and STEM. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of all the programs or study areas that falls under each of this academic unit, you can have a quick look. You will find that we are quite complete. So these are just 3 here so far. I've got a next slide that has got the other 4. But as you can see, we really do have a whole range of programs that are available here. Like as an example, out of the universities that are in Adelaide, we are the only one that offers podiatry, as an example. We are also the only one that offers pharmacy at the moment. So, and then even under business, you can see that we have a whole range. I will talk more about it later on as well. Just going on to the next slide. So these are the other 4 academic units and their study areas that falls under each of them. Okay, so you can see, like, overall, we are a very comprehensive university. We do offer pretty much a lot of programs. I know we don't offer medicine or dentistry or vet science. Those are the 3, and probably like actual studies, we don't, but a lot of things we do. Yeah. Okay, and like the unique ones, for example, aviation. We are the only ones that offer aviation in Adelaide. Yeah. Okay. So, if I'm not mistaken, film and television, we are also the only ones that offers in Adelaide as well. Okay, so next we're going to go into sort of more specific areas in terms of programs itself. So I know there are so many, as you can see, there's so many study areas, so many programs that is available in or offered by UniSA. So obviously I'm not going to have time to touch on each of the programs, but there are some that I've kind of prepared already. So hopefully this might, be able to give you an idea. But if there are any programs that you would like me to sort of spend a little bit more time and explain a little bit more, please feel free to let me know. Hang on, there is a message there. Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, please, if you have got any questions, feel free to put into the Q&A box as well. So I'm going to talk about now UniSA Business. So with UniSA Business, we are ranked in the top 1% worldwide. UniSA Business is accredited by both the AACSB as well as EQUIS. So these 2 are the world leading accreditation bodies. There are about over 25,000 universities in the world, and only about 200 of them are accredited by EQUIS as of a couple of years ago. In Australia, There are 40 universities and only 13 of them are accredited by EQUIS. So UniSA is one of them. And in actual fact, UniSA Business is the longest standing university in Australia to maintain the EQUIS status, which I think is roughly about 17 or 18 years now consecutively. So we are very proud. Now, ASCSB is the American one and EQUIS is the European one. Okay. And in terms of in Adelaide itself, so UniSA Business is the only business school in South Australia that is accredited by AACSB and EQUIS, what we call the double crown. In terms of the actual program or degrees itself, this is pretty much the full list of what we offer at undergraduate basis and also at postgraduate. So if you look under the undergrad at the moment, you will see that just under Bachelor Business itself, we have so many different degrees or specializations that students could go into. So it really tells about how really a wide range of areas that we go into that we teach. Unlike some other unis where, maybe they only have 5 or 6 different specializations, but here we have a good, I don't know, at least 12 or 14 of them here. So we are quite unique. Like, for example, I think we are probably the only one that offers something in property or real estate practice. And then in the digital business, it's also a relatively new one, which is basically our partnership with Accenture that is in Adelaide. So international students who do really well, in their 3rd year, they actually get paid internship to be working or, the internship to be at Accenture in the Adelaide office itself. This is for the Bachelor of Digital Business. Now, for postgraduate students, the very popular one that most students would tend to go into is the International MBA program. Maybe because of the fact that it's a 2-year program, as you're aware, students who are wanting to apply for the post-study work visa, they would tend to try and do a 2-year program. So this potentially could be the reason why it's always very popular. It's a 2-year program, and we accept students from any discipline. So it doesn't matter what they have studied before, they can apply for the International MBA, and we have quite a decent list of specialization that the students can apply for. So business analytics is a very popular one, and supply chain is also getting quite popular as well. Now, bear in mind that there's a difference between International MBA as well as MBA program here at the bottom. So this MBA program is a 1.5-year program, and the students require minimum of 3 years management experience before they can go into this MBA. So obviously, even though it's available there, but in most cases, as I mentioned earlier, it's probably not so popular amongst international students because of the fact that international students would usually prefer to do a 2-year master's in order for them to be eligible to apply for the post-study work visa later on. So this International MBA is the one, and we accept students from any discipline, and no working experience is required as well. So as you can see right at the bottom here, all the different accreditation bodies, depending on what you study, there's an accreditation body other than the 2 that I mentioned earlier with the EQUIS and AACSB. There's all these others that is also accredited as well. So depending on what you study, like for example, if you're studying human resource management, we have got the Australian HR Institute accreditation as well. Or if you're doing supply chain management, we have got this Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply. Okay, so that's that. In terms of this one, okay, so I'm not sure if you've heard of Ehrenberg Bass Institute before, but basically the Ehrenberg Bass Institute is the world's largest center for research into marketing. And this institute is actually sitting at UniSA Business School. So sitting within our UniSA itself, it is #1 in the world for brand management research. And a lot of big companies, big name companies, like Coca-Cola or McDonald's or Nestle actually uses them. Okay, so and a lot of our students, bachelor's or even master's marketing students, could apply for a vacation research scholarship with the Ehrenberg Best Institute as well and be involved. So this is how practical we can be. As I mentioned earlier to you, Ras, this is, our that's the industry connections that we have. And imagine for this one, they are literally sitting within our UniSA Business School. So next we have got education. Now, with education, we have the bachelor's degree and we also have the master's. So what you see here, like the TRB, it just means TRB stands for Teachers Registration Board. So all these programs here are students are able to be registered with the TRB either at bachelor's or master's level, depending on what they study. And as you can see, the distinct is that we have got early childhood, we've got primary, and we've got secondary. Okay. Then we also have the Masters of Education, but the Master of Education is a non-registration program, which means students who do the Master of Education will not lead to registration with the Teachers Registration Board. So in most cases, we will always encourage students to apply for the Master of Teaching instead of the Master of Education, because this will lead to Teachers Registration Board, which then means that they can be a registered teacher and enable them to be able to teach in schools. Okay. Now, apart from that, now notice that here, just bring your attention, notice that we have got the Bachelor of Early Childhood Education Honors. Okay. Now, we are going to offer a brand new program on top of that one. This program is called the Bachelor of Early Childhood B to 5. Basically, is birth to 5 years old. Now, this is a 3-year program. It's got availability in both February and July, so a bit more flexible compared to the Bachelor of Early Childhood Education. That's 4 years and it's only available in February. So this one is a bit more flexible. We are introducing this 3-year program. Students can do the +1 into the Master of Teaching as well if they wish to. And the Bachelor of Early Childhood Education Honors, the existing one, will still be continued to be offered as well. Okay, the reason why we have this new program is basically in response to the Royal Commission into Early Childhood and Care recommendation. And so, yeah, so we are doing this. It's only 3 years. Okay, but sorry. Let me go to the next slide. I'll just explain the difference between the two. So this one here is the 3-year early childhood B to 5, and it's only 3 years. So notice there's no honors here there. And then the Bachelor Early Childhood Education Honors is the 4-year program. So the 3-year one basically is for 5 years old and under, whereas the 4-year one goes up to 8 years old. So that's why they can also teach in junior primary school as well. Okay. And whereas the one up to 5 years old is really only just kindergarten, preschool, or childcare settings. And the duration, of course, one is 3 years, one is 4 years. And in terms of here, you can see the TCS, teaching capability statement. We do not require students to have TCS when they apply for the 3-year program. But if they're applying for the 4-year program, they will need to have the TCS statement. So same thing, we have the placements, 80 days for the 3-year program and 110 days for the 4-year one. Oops, sorry. Okay, so and in terms of career outcome, it just basically, as you can see there, as what the name itself says, with the early childhood B to 5, it just means that the students, when they graduate, they can become early childhood teachers or preschool teachers or childcare teachers. They can't be teaching in schools. Whereas the 4-year program, they can go into primary school and be teaching at the junior primary level up to 8 years old. Okay. Then to give you a little bit of an idea of the demand that we have, if you can see at the early childhood part, you can see the future growth, you're looking at 21.6%. Okay, whereas the primary and secondary school teachers, you're only looking at 5.1% or 3.7%. So this shows like really they are looking for early childhood teachers. That is really in demand, and that's why you can see that growth there. Okay, and this is an estimate of how much they earn per month basis. Okay, So next, talking about UniSA Creative now. So in UniSA Creative, we've got all these programs as written here. I'm not going to read through all of them. You can, see what they are related to. But what I want to bring attention to is this particular program, which is the Bachelor of Visual Arts. So we provide the best university learning experience in visual effects in Australia through our partnership with Rising Sun. So I'm not sure if you have heard of Rising Sun Pictures before. Sometimes when I ask about this, students or even agents might not know, like might not heard of Rising Sun Pictures before, but then yet when I ask them about have you have you watched the movies Lord of the Rings or Spider-Man or whatever, they say, oh yes. So actually, Rising Sun Pictures is the one that does all the production or the visual effects in those movies. So they have a branch here in Adelaide. So we work with them, we partner up with them. And for this particular program, 60% of the program is actually taught in Rising Sun Pictures itself. And from what I've heard was that they don't have any exams. Everything is all project based. So for students, who might be interested in this, that's something to think about. We are ranked number 1 in Australia and 17 in the world. This is based on the rookies ranking in 2023. Okay. And a lot of our graduates tend to end up working for them as well because of the fact that, everything is done there. And so they have an idea of who these students are, how good they are. So ended up, they tend to end up working for Rising Sun Pictures itself. And these are just some projects that the graduates have worked on. I'm sure you can see a lot of familiar ones. Okay. Then in terms of the career outcomes, so if they study visual effects, these can be the sort of like the careers that they can go into. So there's actually different occupation, like they call it like different roles within that students could go into, and very high employment outcomes. Rising Sun Pictures, 75 UniSA students gaining employment in RSP. And also here, the future growth is about 11%, and that is the weekly earning. So this is not the monthly one that we were looking at just now for education. This is actually weekly earning. So this is really very good. Okay. Then we come to STEM. So with STEM, these are all the programs or study areas under STEM. And most of this is all taught in the Mawson Lakes campus, except for construction management, which is in the City East campus. So in terms of STEM programs, these are our engineering programs, and this is our IT programs. We have construction management, we have project management, we have aviation. As I mentioned, we are the only university in Adelaide that offers aviation, and we also have data science as well. So in terms of just to bring your attention to IT here, just so that you are aware, we also have specialization and under our Bachelor of IT with networking and cybersecurity or software development and games and entertainment design. We also have a Bachelor of Software Engineering as well. Then in the master's level, we have the Master of IT in Enterprise Management and Master of IT in Cybersecurity. Now, the Master of IT, we don't require students to have any specific background. So literally they can come in from, like say, business as an example, and be able to apply for the IT, Master of IT, that is. However, for the Master of Data Science, the students will require to have IT background, ICT or mathematics or stats background in order to apply for the Master of Data Science. Okay. Then in terms of industry projects, for all our IT students, regardless of bachelor's or master's, they will do a final year industry projects, and that's actually organized by UniSA itself. These are just some examples of the companies that will that the students will get their projects from, and also IT companies that have established a base in Adelaide. So you can see some big names there. So which also shows that it is a booming industry with so many IT companies coming in. We did have an international student who was successful actually to receive a job offer from Google Cloud. And I think it was a Vietnamese student. That was last year in July. Yeah, so that was quite good for him. In terms of engineering, so we do have the bachelor's as well as the master's. So as you can see, these are the specialization that we offer here at UniSA, a lot more on civil, electrical, electronic, and mechanical. So the sort of this logo here on the side is actually Engineers Australia. It just shows that these programs are accredited by Engineers Australia. Okay, and at master's level, we got civil and infrastructure, water resource management, and electrical power. Next one, so we have a health program. So the health programs, these are, I'm not sure if you remember from early, we have got two academic units. So we have got allied health and human performance, and then we also have clinical and health sciences. So basically what I've done is to lump all of them together under health programs. And you can see that we have got all these programs. So allied health wise, I think we are pretty much the pioneer in allied health. As an example, physiotherapy, we've been doing this or teaching this for more than 50 years already in physiotherapy. We are really the leading university. A lot of sometimes even for me going to see a physiotherapist, every time when I go and see a different one, when I ask where they graduated from, it's always UniSA because we have been the one, doing it for a long, long time. The other two universities really, started not even 10 years, but we have been doing it for more than 50 years already. Okay, so the ones that you see here with the asterisk, a red color asterisk, that's actually just means that it's a quota program, which means that there are limited places available. So students, if you have students wanting to do these programs, please make sure you try and lodge your application ASAP and also make sure that they accept their offer ASAP. That's the only way that they can secure their place when they get their COE. Okay. We have a Bachelor of Nursing here, top 100 in the world for nursing programs. Of course, the normal duration is 3 years, which and we are accredited by NMBA as well, which is the Nursing and Midwifery Board of Australia. This is the Horizon Hospital, which is basically a simulated hospital environment for practical learning. So University of South Australia's nursing school is actually the largest nursing school in South Australia. We have world-class nursing facilities on campus that really replicate a real-life hospital environment, even emergency department, high dependency unit, day surgery, and so forth. So really the students have that ability to practice everything like, as per what they would actually get in a real life hospital environment. And the mannequins as well. You can see mannequins there. Mannequins can talk and, speak and deteriorate or be treated, and they can breathe. Like everything is like really almost like a real life hospital environment. Next one, we have pharmacy. So we are the only university in Adelaide that offers Bachelor of Pharmacy. As you can see here, we're top 150 for pharmacy and pharmacology. We are also one of only 4 universities in Australia to be a member of the National Alliance for Pharmacy Education. More than 50 years of teaching pharmacy as well. They do get that real life field placement, and they have that registration as a pharmacist with the Pharmacy Board of Australia. We also have the Master of Health Service Management. So with this one, this is more so for students who may have already graduated with an allied health degree or even like psychology, but wanting to kind of go into the sort of management side of things. They can apply for the Master of Health Service Management. And in terms of career opportunities, it could be, like going into to be a clinical manager, practice manager, aged care manager, or even a hospital administrator and so forth. Okay, and a practical. So this is what I mentioned earlier, right at the beginning. If you did hear that I was talking to Russell about this, we are a very practical university. We have got internships and placements and industry projects, career mentoring, guest lectures and even study tours and site visits and things like that, all within the program itself. That's why we really expose our students to all these things, which is, probably the reason why our students are really career ready by the time they graduate. Any questions so far? How am I doing
I
with
have a
time?
question.
You have? Okay, great.
I have a question. Just
Mm,
like you mentioned about the teaching program, I was just wondering,
yeah.
is it possible for students to package English up to 7.0 for teaching programs with UniSA? Or
Yeah.
difficult?
Okay. Are you referring to the bachelor's or the master's?
Both. As like, can the student package to 7.0? Of course, like for nursing, we cannot package to 7.0. But I think for like teaching, there are like very few universities in Australia that actually can package.
They can, there are only, I think, there are only three programs that the students cannot package with so
Mm-hmm.
that is, if I'm not mistaken, is the early childhood master's program, bachelor's of speech pathology, and the masters
Nursing.
of clinical
Uh,
advanced that they can't package. Nursing, they can package, but they will still be required to provide an English test at the end of the day. But the
ah,
ones that cannot package at all is those three that I've just mentioned. So,
ah,
Bachelor of
speech
Speech Pathology
pathology.
honors,
Mhm.
Masters of Teaching Early Childhood,
Childhood.
and the last one is the Masters of Clinical Advanced Physiotherapy. Mm.
Ah,
So those
Physiotherapy.
three
Okay.
definitely cannot. That's the master's level. Yeah. So definitely cannot. The others, they can, like for nursing, they can, but they still have to provide
the
the IELTS
7.0.
score. Yeah, yeah. They still have to provide the IELTS test result at the end of the day. Yeah.
Mm, interesting.
Mm.
I
Okay.
realized a
So
lot. Yeah, I realized a lot of different universities they have different policy for their IELTS 7.0.
yes, yes, correct. Yeah. And on top of that, while you're at it, talking about IELTS, we do accept the one skill retake IELTS as well.
Ah,
As long as they, and this is applicable to all programs, even nursing as well. All
okay.
programs, all they need, the criteria is that they must sit for that one skill retake
Yep.
within
Mm,
60 days of the previous test that they set for.
okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm,
60 days. That sounds very fair.
mm, okay. And then, of course, there might be some students that sit for two different tests, not the one skill retake, but two different IELTS tests. We will
Mhm.
also accept that too.
Oh,
Mm. As long as it's within 6 months.
ah,
That's actually
Mm,
quite interesting. That's
interesting.
actually quite interesting. You accept
mm, mm.
like two separate IELTS tests. Like imagine they have
Yeah.
one band that's better, then they did the second time, then you have another band that they did better. Okay. That's actually very, very interesting.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. So it's slightly different to the one skill retake.
Mhm.
Okay, because the one skill retake, they're only taking that one sub band only. Whereas the two different tests is they are taking all the full test in
Yep.
two different sittings. Yeah, yeah. So it's quite different. Yeah. Just
So you will
mm,
take the best out of each band from both tests, right? So for example,
correct.
first test is 6655 and the second one is 5566. So if
Yeah,
it's within 6 months, it can be 6666.
correct. Yes.
Wow, that's very
Mm,
interesting.
mm,
Very,
mm.
very interesting. First time I'm
I
hearing
mean,
this.
yeah, I don't normally foresee a lot of I don't know, Malaysian students. I don't know. I feel that their
Malaysian,
English is pretty good.
yeah, Malaysian
Honestly,
students are
Malaysia is
pretty good.
pretty good. Malaysia is still pretty good. I think it's
Mm,
more on the
yeah,
part where they wanted to go for nursing. They wanted to go
Yep.
for
yeah.
nursing or
The
any of the teaching
higher
programs,
requirement.
right? They do
Yeah,
want they
Yes.
prefer that. That's why
mm,
also that we have students that they do retake the IELTS. Let's say if they do not meet the requirement for the first time, and then they would
mm,
tend to
mm,
retake the IELTS or
mm,
do take the one skill retake
mm.
because since it is
But if
applicable.
you if you do have a specific case that you are thinking of, please, WhatsApp me so that I could like make sure I double
Yep.
check exactly what your the
Mhm.
scenario and to make sure that it's applicable. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think this double IELTS also be very useful for those onshore
Mm.
students.
Mm.
Very
Okay,
good.
but onshore it all depends on what they have studied as well.
Oh,
If
of
they have
course.
Yeah, that's right.
like yeah. Okay, so yeah, just for if you have got individual scenarios, please feel free to just WhatsApp me and I will really double confirm with admissions on exactly what is accepted. Yeah. Okay. Now, any other questions? Because I'm gonna talk about the new Adelaide Uni, so I just want to
Oh,
make sure I clear the UniSA part of things first.
I think a lot of questions are going to come in once you start talking about Adelaide Uni.
Yeah, I think everyone. I
Okay.
think everyone will want to. I think they will prefer to know more about the NU because I think that's going to be a very big. It's going to be a very huge change, also
Mm,
especially
mm.
about the news about Adelaide U.
Okay. Now, okay, right. Okay, let me just continue. And please feel free to just keep throwing up the questions, if you have any. So in terms of Adelaide Uni, everyone, I'm sure you have heard of the merger that's happening between UniSA and University of Adelaide. So in 2026, the two universities will merge and form a brand new university by the name of Adelaide Uni. So this is not a takeover whatsoever. It's not as if UniSA being absorbed into University of Adelaide or U Adelaide being absorbed. Nothing of that sort. It's two unis coming together and forming a brand new university by the name of Adelaide University. So it is coming opening in January 2026. And this is just some wordings, about Adelaide being the new major university. It's going to be a super mega university. And I think Russ, just now you mentioned about how, one is very sort of research focused and one being very practical. The good thing about this is that the fact that we are creating a brand new university, the good thing is that we are now able to combine the best of both worlds. So research wise and the practical, it's all going to be joined together in this new university. So that's the best part. The fact that we are able to pull the best of both worlds into this brand new university. Okay, so and it is a group of 8 uni. So we know for a fact that it is a group of 8 uni. This is confirmed already. And in terms of DHA, we are also going to be a level 1 uni as well. For Adelaide Uni. When I say we, I'm now referring to Adelaide University. So this is our bold aspiration to be top in Australia for student employment outcomes and top 5 for student experience, and also to be sustainably ranked in the top 1% in the universities worldwide. So this is the website. It's already online. It's all live. You can go in and look at the information yourself as well. There's a brand story, like a video about it too. So if you haven't seen it, please feel free to go in and watch it. A lot of things are on the website already. One other good thing I wanted to mention is about that student experience. Now, we have actually just, if I'm not mistaken, we have got our DVC for student experience already. So this is the first time, I think, from what they have said, it's one of the very new thing, like in the whole of Australia. Adelaide Uni has just, I think, is the first university to have appointed a DVC for student experience. So we are really serious about, having the best outcome for the student, and also for student experience as well, to the extent that we have actually employed a DVC that specifically talk about just student experience itself. None of the other universities have a DVC that is for student experience. So in terms of degrees programs, okay, at the current moment, so when we first launched it, was back in July, a few months ago, these programs are all already sort of on board, that is offered. So you can go into the website and you will be able to see all these programs. At the moment, there's about 200 of them that is out there. However, there will be more programs that will be progressively released in the market. So we are hoping that that will be sort of confirmed by early next year. So these are the ones that have been identified to say that it is very popular amongst international students, which is why these ones have actually been sort of, in a certain sense, like put a bit earlier forward so that international students could apply. As you are aware, with international recruitment, we always have to have a bit of lead time, sometimes up to 1.5 years ahead of time, which is the reason why when we pool the data between the two universities, both University of Adelaide as well as University of South Australia, these are the programs that have come up to say that international students tend to have that, interest in them, which is why we started working on these ones first. And then there are more programs that will be progressively released. And of course, there are some other more programs that, sometimes a little bit more restrictive or whatever, or curriculum wise and things like that. So that all needs to be worked out. So there's actually a lot of working groups that are working in the background currently to come up with more programs as well. But you can see, like, medicine and dentistry, it's out there because we know, especially with UOA, it's a major one of their very popular programs as well. So all these are already on board, but there will be more that's coming up. And they are now, at the moment, we have got 200, but they are hoping to come up with up to 300 by early next year. So as you can see, there's actually more that will come up soon. In terms of applications, it's all open already for 2026. So if you do have students knowing that they want to start in 2026, actually applications are all open. If you are a contracted agent, of course, yes, education, I believe you are, then you will actually have that login details or whatever it is to be able to go into StudyLink to submit the application on StudyLink. So you just need to search for Adelaide University, and then you can lodge in the application for 2026. Okay. In terms of the student journey, so obviously we are out with the first one, but looking at this one to start in 2025. So if you have students that are wanting to start in 2025, so obviously you can apply directly to UniSA. And then when it comes to 2026, these students will then transition to Adelaide University, the new uni, in an existing or equivalent program. And when they graduate, they will get the parchment from Adelaide University. Okay. One good thing about starting with UniSA in 2025 is that if the student were to start in UniSA in 2025, the fees will be locked in based on the UniSA fees, subject to the usual 5% yearly increment when they transition into 2026. And whatever scholarships they get in UniSA in 2025, that will also flow through to Adelaide University in 2026 as well. Okay, then of course, if the students want to start in 2026, then you apply directly to Adelaide University for the 2026 intake. And of course, the same thing, the parchment will also be from Adelaide University. Okay, any questions?
I think we had one question in the chat asking that, if we graduate, I mean, if we study in what's it called? UniSA or Adelaide, will you graduate then? But I think you've already answered the question. Yeah. So any students that join, you guys will get the Adelaide Uni certificate. But I think this is a question that I want to ask. What do you, in your opinion, so it's not like official or anything, but in your opinion, what do you think will be like the overall ranking of Adelaide Uni? Because now it's kind of like a question that I got before as well. They were saying that, oh, if I join UniSA or if I join University of Adelaide, do you think the new uni ranking will go up or will it go down? Or will it not have a QS ranking? Because Malaysia is quite a ranking-based market. So just on your opinion, you don't have to answer if you don't know the answer. It's your opinion. What do you think will it be?
Well, nobody can answer that.
Yeah,
even
nobody
the
can
VC
answer it.
Cannot, yeah.
Nobody can answer it. Even I couldn't answer it.
Exactly.
I just say it's slightly higher, but
because it's a brand new university,
Correct.
so it hasn't even operated yet. So there's no way that anything can be based on because it hasn't even existed yet.
Mm,
So nobody can answer this question
mhm,
truly, actually. Yeah.
mm.
So you might even find that for QS ranking, like because you're talking about QS ranking is based on the previous year, right? So because there isn't a previous year to base on,
True.
so there will be no QS ranking even for 2026. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
Ah,
yeah, that's why that nobody can answer this question at the
ah,
moment. Yeah. You have to have run it first, then you can have something to base it on, you
mm.
know? Mm,
True.
mm.
I like the answer. It's very true. Yeah, you cannot get a QS ranking if you
Yeah,
don't have a I didn't think of it that way, but yes, it's true.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Ah,
I don't think like, how some people say, oh, it's not right when they say, oh, if this is here and this is here, does that mean that in the middle? Not
correct.
necessarily.
Not
Not
necessary.
necessarily. Yeah.
If you
Because
combine resources, it should be higher also, in fact. That's my thinking.
it could be. It could be. I mean, of course, like I
Ah,
said, I don't know the
we don't know
answer,
the
but
answer.
yeah, but it could be because for all like as I mentioned earlier, we're pulling the best of both worlds to be in this one.
Correct.
For all it could also be higher because it's way better because of you
That's
have the
true.
research, you've got the practicality. It might even be higher. Who knows? But
Yes,
definitely nobody can answer this question because the uni hasn't even existed yet. There's nothing to base it on yet. You know what I
that
mean?
is
Yeah.
true.
Mm,
Who
yeah.
knows? You guys might be number one by 2027. Number one in the whole Australia.
Well, we don't know.
We don't
I
know,
think
but
I think yeah, 2027 might be a bit earlier to tell. It might take, a couple of years or so
mm,
to yeah, but yeah, that's what my thoughts are anyway, like I said. Yeah.
mm.
Mm.
So we have another question in the chat.
Mm.
In
Mm.
terms of the fees wise, will there be any impact on the tuition fees when it comes to 2026 onwards? Or will the
Mm.
fees be higher or slightly lower? I mean, I know
Yeah.
the
So
answer, but we'll let you to answer it.
okay. So as I kind of mentioned, touched on it a little bit just now, if the student were to start in UniSA in 2025, when 2026 comes and they transition into Adelaide University, the fee that they pay in Adelaide University will still be based on the UniSA fees. So they get locked in based on the UniSA fees, but of course it is subject to the normal 5% yearly increment. They will not be paying the high fees that Adelaide Uni would be charging if the student were to start in 2026. So as an example, okay, as an example, I think I've got the fee for I think like say for example business program. If I'm not mistaken, Adelaide Uni's Bachelor of Commerce or Bachelor of Business is gonna be something like 47,000 a year, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. UniSA, however, is only roughly about, I don't know,
30.
37,000. Or
Mm,
I think it's about 30, okay, depending on whether you're talking about bachelor's or master's. So for the bachelor's in 2025, you're looking at 38,000. Okay. So
mm,
if they
mm,
start in UniSA, they will be locked in based on 38,000 a year. Okay. And then when they go into Adelaide University in 2026, it will still be based on the 38,000, subject to the normal 5% increment. However,
mm,
if the student didn't start in 2025 and decide to start in 2026, they will be paying 48,000 or 47,000. You
mm.
understand what I mean? Mm.
So
So
apply
this is
now.
Oh, I think
exactly.
no.
Apply now.
I think everyone, I think the answer is everyone put in all your application for uni essay. The fees is gonna definitely increase on 2026. Put all your application in uni essay.
That's why, I mean, of course, it's also a very sensitive matter at the moment, especially with UOA, so we don't necessarily try to really like, but yeah,
Yep.
but it is a fact that that is the fee. That's how it is. So I also need to let you all know as well. Yeah. Mm. Because that's where all the questions are coming in. A lot of students and agents are asking the same thing as well about the fees. So it is a fact. If you start in UniSA in 2025, that fee will be locked in even when you go into the 2026 in Adelaide Uni. Just that the normal yearly increment will fall into place, but that's only about that's 5% each year. Yeah. And
I have another
and
question.
at the end of the day, they still graduate with Adelaide Uni. It's still a group of 8 uni, so you have got actually it's a no-brainer, like, yeah. Mm.
Yep. So I have a
Okay, so
question.
mhm,
Yep. So for example, if let's say a student joins business program this year in UniSA, and maybe sorry, we have to say 2025. So in 2025, the student starts in UniSA, and also another group of students start at University of Adelaide. So when it comes to second year in 2026,
26,
yeah, will both of them go into the same class, or will they still be separated?
same, but they will pretty much
Oh,
be, yeah, in the same.
so technically only the year one will be
Yeah.
different, but the year two and the year three will
Mm.
be combined already.
Yeah. So it also depends on what program. Okay, just the reason why I say that is because in Adelaide Uni, the new uni in 2026, we will have
Ah,
Bachelor of Commerce and we will have Bachelor of Business.
correct.
Okay, so as you know, in UniSA, we don't have Bachelor of Commerce, we have Bachelor of Business. Okay,
Yep.
but UOA has got Bachelor of Commerce. So
Mhm.
it's two different programs there. So it really depends on what the student has started the program on. Because if they have done a Bachelor of Commerce in UOA, then definitely they will not be in the same class as the Bachelor of Business students in Adelaide University, because that will be a different degree again altogether.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Mm,
Um, Another question come in the chat.
mm, sure.
So with the both universities coming together, does this mean that the student get to use both institution campus slash facilities?
Yes, yes, they will. Mm. So they're gonna name it. So you, like, as I mentioned, like for UniSA, just now I mentioned we have got the 4 main campuses in Adelaide, and UOA has got 3, I believe. So they have got their Adelaide Uni one, which is also in North Terrace next door to UniSA. Then they have the Wait campus, and they got the Roseworthy one. Obviously those are for different programs that they study. But essentially, what will happen is that the uni SA City East and City West campus, and the Adelaide Uni, the North Terrace one, because they're all in the same street,
Yep.
all in
Same
North Terrace.
stretch.
That one, they will all call it as the Adelaide City campus. Mm,
Oh.
yeah. Okay.
I
And
wonder,
then you have got the rest. Yeah. Mm.
I wonder once you guys combine, will you guys be the biggest university in Australia?
So,
I didn't do the maths, but
okay. Apparently not yet.
okay.
Because if I'm not mistaken, I think U Sydney or UNSW has got like 75,000 students total population wise. So even if you add the two up, we are still not quite there yet. So I think we most likely will be the 4th largest university, but not number 1. However, in terms of domestic students, we will be number 1 in the whole of
Mm,
Australia by the time the new Adelaide Uni come on board in January 2026. We will have the largest cohort of domestic students because of the 2 uni combined
yep.
together. We will have the largest domestic cohort. Yeah.
Interest.
But in terms of total population, not quite there yet. Mm.
We never know. With the caps, maybe you guys will be the biggest by 2026.
True?
Who knows?
Yeah,
Who
yeah, yes.
knows? Who
That's true.
knows?
That's true. And for in case you are worried, because I know there are some parents who are even asking me as well, like in my recent uh, attendance at one of the fairs in Singapore, one of the parents asked me as well about the cap. So just so that you are aware, Adelaide Uni, or when the two merge together, the Adelaide Uni, what we have been told by our sort of senior management is that we are in a good position. So University of South Australia, we are fine. We haven't reached the cap yet. We still have grounds to play
Yep.
around with, and so is University of Adelaide as well. So even with the two merged together and with the two caps that we have merged together, we are kind of in a relatively good position.
Very good.
Okay. Mm.
Very interesting. Who knows? Maybe UNSW and USIT get jealous and they say, "Oh no, we need to combine now as well." Who knows?
That'll be so large.
We never know.
Yeah. Any other, sorry, any other question? Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
great. All right, thank you. All right,
I
anyone
think
has
I'm
any
losing.
more questions? Let's see. Questions about UniSA in general, or even about Adelaide U? Because do note, Adelaide U, unfortunately, their very first intake will be in February 2026.
Mm. And just so while I have this up here, I've got a QR code for our 2025 UniSA brochure. So if you're interested, please scan the QR code. And just so that you know, our staff members are always ready to have a Zoom session with the students or their parents as well. So if you've got any questions or if you've got queries from students and parents that wants to speak to us directly, we are more than happy to have that one-on-one session with them. So normally what I will do is I will get the academic unit staff members to come in and join in because they are from that academic unit, so they have a better understanding of the programs as well. So usually there will be two of us. If I can't join it, of course they will be there, but otherwise I would usually join as well. So as an example, we always get a lot of questions about aviation. And sometimes it's very hard to talk about aviation because there's so many things to know of pathway 1, 2, and 3, and whatnot. So always feel free to just request for a Zoom session like that so that we could talk in more detail with the students.
Actually, while we're on this topic, can I request if you do have the time, can you share with us a little bit more about the aviation program in UniSA?
Um,
If you have it, but if not, it's fine.
okay. I can spare I have something else on later, but I can uh go into it quickly for maybe another 10 minutes. So
Sure.
this is, can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see the website.
You
Perfect.
can see the website. Okay. So
Yes.
this is something you can go into. It's what I would suggest you do is to scroll down. The main thing is go into this one here that says aviation flyer. Okay, so what I'm going to do is copy the link and put in the chat. So that is there. Okay, so it's in the chat now. So you have the link as well. So you can see what I'm going to do is to scroll down to, basically we have got two programs. Okay, for aviation, we have the Bachelor Aviation Pilot and we have the Bachelor Aviation Management. So as what it says there, pilot is for students who really want to fly. And aviation management is the ones who are more for ground staff, those who don't want to fly the plane, but then wants to work in an airport and manage traffic control, cargo, whatever it is. Okay, now I am going to show you this one here. Oh, sorry. Okay, so if you can see here, in the first year, students will go into the Bachelor of Aviation Pilot. And in the first year is actually a common year. So basically, they will have 10 hours of flight experience, out of which 5 hours are flying and the other 5 are observing. Okay, so in the first year, they have that opportunity to really get a taste of how flying is like and so forth. And the very rare occasion, we do get one or two students who would usually say, "Oh no, I'm too scared. It's not for me. I can't handle the height and whatever not." So if you do get students like that, they can change their mind and transfer to the aviation management. Okay, so because of the fact that year one is common between the two, so they can actually change in that sense. Now, for those who stick on to wanting to be a pilot, at the end of that first year, they then have to make a decision and apply for the three different pathways here. So there are three different pathways. Pathway 1, 2, and 3 Now, pathway 1 is the best out of the lot. Okay, so if you can see here, pathway 1, make it a little bit bigger. Pathway 1 includes the bachelor's degree as well as the graduate diploma. So the graduate diploma in aviation is actually done at the second year. So it's done concurrently with the bachelor in the second year. So there are times when, because all this includes 174 hours of flying hours and also 16 sim hours. So sometimes you might find that the students may not be able to complete everything within 1 year in that second year. And sometimes they just extend it a little bit to year 3 as well. But technically, it's meant to be a 1-year program and done within year 2. Okay, it is okay to extend it to year 3. Okay, quite common that most students actually tend to do that as well. But that is the best part. With that graduate diploma in aviation, it comes with all these things. So they have the graduate diploma, so an actual qualification, not just only the flying hours, but it actually comes with a proper qualification. So you get a separate COE as well. On top of your normal Bachelor Aviation COE, you also get a COE for the graduate diploma in aviation. Then it comes with all these CPL, the CIR, the multi-engine aeroplane class rating. So all these. So this is really the best out of the lot. It comes with everything. Okay. However, that graduate diploma is additional cost. So it does come with another almost $120,000 Australian on top of the normal bachelor aviation tuition fee.
Mhm.
Okay, this is per year basis, 2025 per year basis fee. And then this one is for the graduate diploma in aviation. So of course, there are also other requirements. So you have got the flying details and entry requirements. So doesn't mean that at the end of that first year, you say, oh, I want to go into that, means you just go into it. It doesn't automatically. You still have to go through the additional requirements. For example, the formal interview, the flight aptitude test, and so forth, and the medicals as well. Okay, so this is pathway 1. Then you have got pathway 2. So as I mentioned, not everybody may have the means to fork out another $120,000 equivalent for the graduate diploma in aviation. Now, this 120, just so that you know, it is not paid in one lump sum. I think there are about 6 different modules in that graduate diploma. So the students can pay module by module basis. They don't pay a whole lump sum straight away. Okay, so they are invoiced accordingly depending on what module they are at. Okay, so that is pathway 1. Then we have pathway 2, and then we have pathway 3. Now, the complete opposite of pathway 1 is pathway 3, whereby it's pretty much as what here it says, it is just the bachelor only, nothing else. No additional 5 hours, just the bachelor. And the flying hours experience is just that first year when they do that 10 hours of flight experience, 5 hours observing, 5 hours flying, only that one. The rest is just year 2, year 3, the normal bachelor. That's it. So this is, of course, the cheapest version for students who don't have the financial means. That is what they would do. But what happens is that students can then apply for cadetship at certain airlines for those pathway 3 students. Yeah. Okay. Now, then of course we have the one like right in the middle. So which is pathway 2, whereby it is the bachelor plus CPL. So CPL is basically the commercial pilot license. And that comes with 155 flying hours and 10 sim hours. So this one, they can go for bachelor and CPL, but this is an additional of roughly about $72,000 for the CPL. Okay, so this is obviously the second best option, as I would say. Again, the same thing, anything with the more flying hours, you have that additional requirements of interview, flight aptitude test, medical, and so forth. Okay, so these are basically the 3 different pathways for aviation. So depending on, whether the student financial means how they are, they can then decide whichever that they would like to go through. So if you look at here, the graduate and student success here, we have Kenneth. Now, Kenneth is actually a Singaporean. So he did the pathway similar to pathway one, actually, which is everything. Okay. And he's now the first officer for Singapore Airlines. Okay. Then we have the opposite, which is Frankie here. So Frankie did something that is similar to pathway three, meaning just the bachelor degree only. And he was able to enter the cadetship with no flying experience at all with Cathay Pacific. And he's now the second officer for Cathay Pacific. Okay, so this is the different so it doesn't mean that if you just only do the bachelor that you don't have, the career path. You still have, just that probably a little bit more
Yeah.
limited because of the fact that you don't have that flying hours. Yeah.
Mm.
Sophia, can I just double
Okay.
confirm again? Sorry
And
for
yeah,
interrupting. Because you
sure.
mentioned, because I couldn't help but notice, like, mentioned, like, let's say the pathway one is the bachelor plus graduate diploma, and then it mentioned duration of 1 year. So, but the total duration, let's say the graduate diploma is 3 years, is it? Or
Mm.
3 years?
3 years still. Yeah.
3 years
So
still
the
for different.
duration is 3 years. Yeah. The graduate diploma is actually done in the second year, as I mentioned. It's actually done concurrently.
Okay.
Basically, it's the flying. So at the end of the day, they are meant to, as I mentioned, they are meant to finish everything within the second year itself, because graduate diploma is 1 year. They're meant to finish everything within 1 year.
Okay.
But more often than not, we have been seeing students sort of deferring because it's flying, and sometimes it's also depending on the weather. If it's too windy, too rainy, you can't fly, so it needs to be postponed and postponed and postponed. So it is okay for students to extend that to year 3 as well. Yeah. Okay.
I think that's
But
definitely
the
something that
duration wise is
okay.
still, it is still 3 years at the end of the day.
Okay, noted.
Now my turn to ask some questions. So I need to ask, so essentially you mentioned they need to go to like the flight aptitude test, they need to go for like interview and things like that. So is it guaranteed that the student can actually go into like the grad dip, or is it like they're not guaranteed? Or I mean, of
Well,
course, if the student doesn't meet the flight aptitude and all those, of course they don't go through. But is it guaranteed that there is a spot waiting for them? It's just that they need to pass these inherent requirements. And will this
Correct.
test be done in the year one, or?
Okay. I don't know when it will be done, whether it's after year 1 or right at the
During
end.
year one?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
okay.
because it says here the decision point, is usually at the end of year 1. So I'm not sure whether all these extra tests is done
I
at
get
the
what you
end of
mean.
year 1 or before that. That part I'm not sure. Yeah. But essentially, if they pass all these things, then yes, they can actually go into the grad. Yeah. And
Okay.
the best thing about it is that we tied up with our partner, the flight school, which is called the FTA, Flight Training Academy. And that is only 10 minutes or 15 minutes away from our Mawson Lakes campus. So you might find other universities,
I was just about to ask that also.
they're really, really
Correct,
far
they're super
away,
far. Yes.
Yeah, you might have to travel an hour to get there.
Yes.
And one way there, 1 hour there, 1 hour to come back. For us, it's so convenient because it's only about 10 minutes away in the Parafield Airport, so near to Mawson Lakes campus. So students don't have to, spend so much time on the road just to get to the training airport itself. Yeah. And also in case, I know I have had some agents asking me, the fuel is also included in the fees already. Students do not pay additional for fuel, unlike some other universities where they pay separately for the fuel. Yeah.
Okay, I have another
Okay.
question. So students will get 15% scholarship in UniSA. So does that mean that the 15% scholarship also includes for aviation, and would we be commissionable for the 100,000? I don't think so, right?
Wait, when you say 100,000, are you talking about this graduate diploma?
Yes.
No, it will be for the aviation, the normal Bachelor of Aviation. Students can get the 15% scholarship, and when everything will be based on that Bachelor of Aviation, not the grad dip in aviation.
So the grad dip just an add-on, no
Yes.
commission or nothing.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Very important question, because I had some people asking me before, like, oh, does that mean if I claim 10%, I get 10,000 Aussie dollars? Then I was like, I don't think the uni will give you
No,
10,000 Aussie dollars.
we will be based on the Bachelor of Aviation only.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
very clear.
Any other questions?
I think no questions on my end. It's a very good
No?
session from my end. Thank you very
Mm.
much.
Okay, no worries. Yeah.
Very informative.
Uh,
Okay.
okay, so I guess
Yep, I think great. I
if
think
there's no other question,
Mhm. Sure, no worries. I think, is there any more questions?
mm,
Maybe we can have for one more, or I think everyone's very clear. Actually, it's a very, very clear session.
that's good. That's good. Oh, is that
Oh
one
no,
more there?
see, it's a very informative. It's just very informative.
Oh, good.
The Q&A,
Thank you. Thank
can give a
you.
feedback form. All right. Oh, thank you so much, everyone. Well, thank you so much. If you have any more additional questions, feel free to reach out to Yes Education.
Mm,
And
mm.
thanks for joining us. Have a great evening ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Yeah. See you, Ross. See you,
Guys,
Timothy.
Thank you.
Bye.
bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Have a good night.